Hey, it's Keza, also known as Skylar Loves Gory Movies. Welcome back to day 9 of 51 days of favourite movie challenge. And yes, today's movie I am reviewing, well, the other day's movie actually, because I'm a couple of days behind. It's Elvira, the mistress. Let me reiterate that for you. I am reviewing Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, starring the one and only Cassandra Peterson as Elvira, W. Morgan Shepherd, Daniel Green, Susan Kellerman, Jeff Conaway, and Edie McClurg as Chastity Pariah. Music by James Campbell, costume designer Betty Hyman, production designer James Kerr Jr., director of photography Hanania Bear, that's it. Executive producer Michael Mill, supervising producer Joel Firm, written by Sam Egan, John Paragon, and of course Cassandra Peterson. Produced by Eric Gardner and Mark Pearson, and directed by James Signorelli. Right. And before I start, I've got all this to get through, and there are going to be spoilers in this as well, so if you don't want to watch this, if you don't want to listen to it, then you don't have to. So anyway, here we go. Film starts out from a scene of a horror movie, then the movie ends and Elvira... Hang on. Sorry. And Elvira starts to speak about the film and finishes, then walks off, then talks to Rudy, and the new owner talks to Elvira. Then the guy grabs Elvira's knockers and she stands on his shoe and pushes him to the desk. Then he talks to Manny about Las Vegas, and then she gets a telegram from her great auntie Morgana Talbot, and she's got to go to Massachusetts for the reading of the will. Then starts to dream about her will, and then leaves in her car to go to Massachusetts. Picks up a hitchhiker and then gets off. Then he gets scared, runs off, and she said, "Wait, you forgot your axe," and throws her at him. Drives off, runs a red light. Then the police pulls her over, and Elvira tries to flirt with the police officer, but doesn't work. Gives her a ticket, then pulls into a gas station and asks for gas, but realises it's self-service. So puts in the gas herself and cleans the windows. Then puts the pump back, but it drops off and goes on the floor and says to the attendant that cigarettes will kill you, and drives off. And he says, "Have a nice day." Farts, throws the cigarette to the gas and blows up the petrol station as Elvira drives off, leaving Kansas, drinking a soda, punching her fist in the air and eating some fries. Starts to eat a hot dog, but the hot dog lands on her knockers. She looks down, tries to clean it off, then spills a drink on herself and continues to drive. Then passes a Amish couple. They wave at Elvira and she waves back at them, then drives off and arrives at Falwell, Massachusetts, a decent community population, 1,313. Then the bell rings and then it's quiet. People are buying cookies, sitting on the bench, knitting, and a man painting on a building white. Then Elvira comes past blasting her music and everyone comes out to see what the noise is, all the noises. 3 boys say "wow" as they see Elvira and her car drive past and goes around the corner, and everyone looks at her. The car goes in smoke and the hood goes off and tells the old lady to get lost. Then the boys lift the hood on the car and takes it to the mechanic, and then takes her belongings to the Cozy Cottage motel. Rings the bell And the lady tells Elvira there's no room at the motel. And then the granddaughter comes down and she gets shouted at for wearing makeup, and then escorts Elvira to her room and asks Robin, where can you go for fun? And Robin tells her to try the bowling alley. So she goes to the bowling alley and asks for a Bloody Mary, but they don't serve hard liquor after 8 p.m. Then two guys come over and try to chat it up, but she gets bored and then pours their drinks on them and says that was fun. Then they grab her and then attacks them, and a guy takes care of them, and Patty argues with Elvira. And then Bob and Elvira walk home, and she tells Bob all about her aunt, and that Bob tells Elvira that he runs the movie house. And then he runs out. And then at the reading of the will, they talk over the will, and they give one lady $5,000 and a tea set, and then to her husband the car and another $5,000. Elvira got the house, a dog, books, and Vincent got nothing. So Vincent drives by Elvira and talks to Elvira, and then tells the drivers to drive, and the lawyer takes Elvira to the house and is shocked to see the house. Then Vincent leaves his office to go and see Elvira. Then Algonquin jumps at Elvira and asks how much the house will be to sell, and wants to sell the house, and then shaves the dog's hair off, calls him Gonk, and Vinny comes by for the cookbook, but the dog hides the book, which made Vinny mad. And Gonk growls, and Vincent then leaves. Elvira then settles for the night and looks in the mirror. The three students climb up the window while Elvira undresses, then takes a photo of Elvira naked, and then looks out, and Elvira tells them to come back the next day. Jumps out and tells, they jump off down the window, and the boys got the photograph they wanted. Then Elvira starts to dream, and someone calls her name, wakes up, goes to where the voices are, opens the door, goes in, turns around, sees a ghost, and then wakes up as it was only a dream. Then falls asleep, scratches her head, and wakes up. Then the boys bring the paint, and more volunteers join in and help out with the house. Then Robin's grandparents dragged her away back home. Then they finish with the painting, drops the drinks and loves the new painting. Then at a meeting, they all want the students to stay away from Elvira. Her house is up for open house, and the real estate agent goes to Elvira's house, but comes on to her, and he leaves. And her and Algonquin are left on their own until the phone rings, and it's Manny saying that the flamingo is breathing down their necks and is after the cash, but Elvira says that she will sell the house soon. So then she looks for a job, but no one will hire her. Them two goons are in Elvira's house trying to find the book, but can't find the book. Then Elvira gives up trying until she sees Bob, and they start to talk and tell her chastity pariahs turn the whole town against her. Elvira falls, and Bob catches her and then kisses him, and Patty storms up and off in her car. Then Elvira wants to help Bob out and gets movies from her car. Then Vincent goes to his secret chamber and conjures up a spell and says about the lunar eclipse is less than a week away, and that he's still alive and Morgana's not, and there's nothing she can do about it. Back at the bowling alley, Elvira finds the students and tells them about the midnight screening at Bob's theatre and asks what's wrong, and the principal says that they can't come to the midnight screening, and if they did, they would be in serious trouble by not just the principal but their parents as well. And then Elvira starts to get upset and cries her eyes out. so the kids feel guilty, and the kids end up going to the midnight screening after all. Then Elvira goes off, ready for the screening. Then they start to talk to plan things out. Then Patty overhears them talking and turns round. Then Patty looks away, so the kid with the glasses throws the shoes over the fence into a puddle and climbs over the fence, and feet land in the puddle, then start to leave the house. Then another kid leaves his bedroom window and climbs down and runs to the cinema. Then Robin gets out of her bed, puts her heels on, and another boy rips his pants as he leaves the house. Then Patty sneaks along to the cinema and gets herself inside the cinema. Elvira gets ready and sees Bob painting her name on the wall and is delighted and thanks Bob. Then the student gets gold glitter in the bucket and puts it high above and tells Bob that the grand finale will be where she reaches up and then pulls a lever and her body is covered in gold glitter, and Bob loves it. But unbeknownstly to Elvira, Patty hatches a plan and is hiding from her. Then the movie plays and Elvira comments on the movie and the kids are enjoying the movie, and Robin looks amazing with makeup, so the kids cheer and the grand finale happens and Elvira dances away, then sits down, pulls the lever and black like tar, like goo, is poured on her and feathers as well, and Patty done it. Then Elvira takes a bath and then tells everyone not to smoke as it's unleaded. Then the kids leave so that Elvira and Bob can be alone. Then Elvira moves over towards Bob and Bob says that he's hungry. Elvira cooks some food and finds a recipe for casserole and starts to prepare the casserole, then puts the food to boil and then brings the food to the table, and Bob sits Elvira down, opens the lid and a monster comes out of it. So takes the dish and puts it in the sink, flips a switch and it goes down the sink. And follows Gong with the book and goes upstairs, goes into a room and puts the light on, and Gong tells Elvira to open the trunk and looks inside. It finds a letter with Elvira's name on it and reads the letter out loud and wants her to protect the book from Vincent, and then reads a spell from the book and the lights go out, and when the lights turn back on she's holding a snake in her hand and throws the snake on the floor and it disappears. Then the next day a band plays and Elvira puts a casserole dish on the table and Chastity opens the casserole dish and tastes it and gets a load, and everyone tries it out and Chastity goes all warm and fuzzy as it's actually a love spell, and Chastity eats the rest of the casserole, then walks over to a guy and sits on him. Then they all dance about and fool around, and Vincent tells Elvira that he wants $500 for the book, and Elvira tells him that the deal's off and walks away. Then Elvira punches Patty, and then they find out that she's got a fake bust. Then the council have a meeting, and Vincent tells everyone that it's Elvira to blame, and that the charge is witchcraft, and Elvira gets arrested, ends up in jail, awaiting execution, and tells Bob to get the book and to hurry, and the students try to save Elvira but drills into the wrong cell. Meanwhile, Bob finds the book and Vincent steals it from Bob. Then Gonk transforms into a mouse and escapes the jail. Then the Reverend gives Elvira her last rites, and then Elvira goes to get burnt. Then Gonk goes back to the house and frees Bob. Then crowds say burn the witch as Elvira gets strapped onto the wood and ties her up and screams for help. And then Patty lights it in several places and continue to shout burn the witch, and then Bob comes and saves Elvira and sees Gonk in his Doberman form. Then Elvira points her ring onto the sky and then it starts to rain and the crowd scatter. Then Bob frees Elvira and tells Elvira that Vincent has the book, and Vincent turned his so-called friends Chastity, Pariah and crew into pigs, then chokes Bob and puts Gonk in the bin, and Elvira blocks the power with her ring, then throws the ring at Vincent, then runs away. Then Vincent goes after Elvira. Then Elvira tries to shoot Vincent but doesn't work, then runs into the graveyard and throws her shoe at Vincent's head and runs off. Then uses her boobs to break the lock, then goes home and the goons are in her kitchen and she throws leeches in his face. As the lunar eclipse arrives, Vincent comes into the house and tries to choke Elvira and has his hand chopped off and says he's the master of the dark, and she says that she will see him in hell first, then gets her ring back and Vincent disappears. Elvira tries to get the book back but runs out of the house and sits on the step and talks to Bob and puts his arm around her, and then all the neighbours come to Elvira's rescue and make peace with her. And with Vincent gone, she gets everything and she gets to go to Las Vegas and does her show at the Flamingo Hotel and does her song and dance like she can, and then shakes her boobs like only she can, and everyone cheers for her. Gives her a cloak and flowers and she says unpleasant dreams and waves to her fans, and that's the end of the movie. My thoughts on this film. Everyone knows how much I love this film. My quote at the end of each of my videos is actually from this film, so I've got no other choice but to give it 10 out of 10. It's been one of my favourites ever since I was like 6 or 7 years old, and it's always been with me like throughout my life, and I just love the film and just think it's amazing. And I just love Elvira because I think Elvira is just an idol and she's still alive today, and she still puts on her Elvira outfits for like certain Comic Cons and like horror cons and stuff like that, which is totally amazing. And then sometimes she's herself as Cassandra Peterson. So anyway, I hope you like this review. Stay gory, have unpleasant dreams. Yeah, have unpleasant dreams. And I'll see you all soon. Ta-ta for now, bye.